Australia's twin failures against South Africa last year will loom large in the minds of the national hierarchy when they make the call on Mitchell Starc's availability for Boxing Day. The left-arm paceman's hopes of playing in Melbourne hang in the balance despite being cleared of serious damage to his heel on Wednesday. Share on Facebook. Share on Twitter. Tweet. Link brought to heel. Australian paceman Mitchell Starc is in doubt for the Boxing Day test. Photo. Trevor Collins. While scans showed Starc's injury to be no worse than a bruised heel, he remains on crutches and is racing the clock to be fit for Australia's push to complete another 5-0 smashing of England. There is nothing the 27-year-old can do but rest and hope for the best. He will travel with the squad to Melbourne on Friday and would need to prove his fitness over the ensuing 3 days to keep his place in the 11. Starc had a scan in Sydney which confirmed bruising on his heel. A CA statement said, "He will still travel to Melbourne with the squad as planned and will be reassessed ahead of the test." Quote, advertisement. As satisfying as an Ashes clean sweep would be for the hosts, the 4-test tour of South Africa looms large and will take greater precedence now the urn has been regained. The last thing Australia would want is to see Starc's preparation or participation for such an important series jeopardized by an injury in a dead rubber. Tasmania's Jackson Bird is likely to play in Melbourne if Starc is ruled out. The Australians have unfinished business against the Proteas, who humiliated them twice in the space of a few months last year. While the test thrashing at home forced wholesale changes, the whitewash that preceded it in the 50-over arena won't have been forgotten by selectors. With 6 of its best and fastest quicks, including Starc and Josh Hazlewood, unavailable due to injury or rest, Australia's third-string pacers were pummeled on flat tracks by Quinton de Kock and Faf du Plessis. As helpless as Captain Steve Smith felt in the field knowing he did not have the arsenal to stop the onslaught, he understood the need to rest the star speedsters. In an ideal world, of course, you pick your best players in every match, and I know the public sometimes feels shortchanged, Smith wrote in his book The Journey. But the reality is that in the modern era of almost constant cricket, with the demands on players in terms of athleticism and the changes between the 3 formats, avoiding rotation simply isn't possible, especially when it comes to the fast bowlers. They put so much strain on their bodies that injury is an occupational hazard. And so you have to balance the desire to play them with the need for them to rest. Quote, outside of the current squad, Australia's pace stocks are thin with James Pattinson and Nathan Coulter-Nile both injured. That depth would be further tested if Starc was to aggravate his bruised heel. Cummins had a similar issue on debut in South Africa in 2011 that worsened to a bone stress injury, forcing him out of international cricket for 7 months. Australia will want to give Starc every chance for success across the Indian Ocean next year after an interrupted preparation for last year's campaign. The big quick entered the series underdone after slicing his knee open in a training accident a month before the first test. Starc is no stranger to Boxing Day pain after being rotated out of the side by the John Inverarity-led panel in 2012. But the left-armer did not have an injury back then. The MCG's reputation for producing lifeless tracks will not help Starc. The venue has produced 3 draws in the Sheffield Shield this season, while last year's test was headed for a high-scoring draw until Pakistan collapsed on the last day.